This podcast is available on our website zipsportsmedia.com and from all good podcast providers. We should probably talk about the players' initiative that's been launched on the back of some stick from Matt Hancock. Is he the health secretary?
I think he is, yeah.
He's something, isn't he? Bit of a clown. But yeah, we should probably talk about that. I'm going to get this. The reason I'm looking down is I'm going to get the statement up so I can read directly from it. But basically, the Premier League players who Matt Hancock deliberately called out and said that they should take a wage cut and donate to the NHS and blah, 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 when, as it turns out, MPs have now been gifted another 10 grand to work from home. That I've seen in the Times article today, which is very, very convenient. One rule for one for the other. But he called the Premier League players out to take a cut because, as we all know, footballers are grossly overpaid, not worth the money, blah, blah, blah. Didn't agree with it, thought it was very, very unfair. But here we are. So the players got together and released a statement last night. It's called Players Together, not the Players Initiative, but Players Together. And they all released the same statement. I think all the captains, wasn't it? Henderson, Kane. Yeah, all the captains. Maguire. Over the course of the last week, we as a group of Premier League players have held numerous talks together with the vision of creating a contribution fund that can be used to distribute money to where it's needed most in this COVID-19 crisis, helping those fighting for us on the NHS front line as well as other key areas of need. This is a critical time for our country and for the NHS, and we are determined to help in any way we can. So that's just the first paragraph, but that's basically the key bit of information from that whole statement. And I think that it's, the Premier League, these footballers that have come together and the PFA, they're coming out of this in a really, really good light. And they were obviously working on something like this when Hancock was calling them out a week ago. And it's actually shown him to look a bit of a clown, in all honesty, because this now looks very good on the Premier League players and good on them for doing it, because there's a lot of people, there's 200 billionaires in this country, and he didn't choose to call them out, but he as always, footballers as scapegoats, and they're used as a bit of a, pinatas in this political game of chess, and used as scapegoats. So they've done the right thing, and they were probably going to do the right thing whether Hancock got involved or not. So all credit to them and fair play to them. I don't know what you think, but that's my stance.
I completely agree. I'm just a little bit less optimistic that people will look on footballers as kindly. I think that, not to get too political on this show, but you probably could guess where I stand. Again, I do think that football is probably unfairly targeted by the general public. I'm the kind of guy that will sit in an office and argue till I'm blue in the face that footballers earn what they earn. You are what you're worth. And
I've written an article on it, actually.
You have, yeah.
Website for it, zipsportsmedia.com. You'll find it there. But yeah, I justified it, and I'm not the one standing by saying they're worth the money, but it's a supply and demand market, isn't it? And the clubs make so much money because of the players.
Yeah, you're worth
what people will pay to see you.
What you can, you're as good as your leverage, really, and footballers are worth a lot of money to football clubs who happen to make a lot of money. And not to go into too much of a rabbit hole here, because we are talking about the COVID-19 crisis and the footballers supporting it, creating that fund. But what a lot of people seem to, I think in this country, the reason people like Matt Hancock and other MPs will target footballers and their earnings is quite often because footballers come from working class backgrounds and are seen to be people that should be lucky and thankful that they're earning that money. And of course they should be, but then so should rugby players, so should golfers, so should Formula One drivers, golfers, singers, songwriters, all these people.
And it's a cheap win, Kieran. It's a cheap win as well to deflect attention from where the money should really be coming from, and the fact that they underfunded this whole campaign and this battle against the coronavirus.
Yeah.
The NHS were grossly underfunded for 10 years, so it's a cheap win. It's to deflect attention away, and I just think that should be seen through.
And it's sad that I think it is too, but I'm not optimistic that the general public at mass will see Hancock's comments, see that the football community has either responded or was already taking the initiative upon themselves, and it's just purely taking time as it would. And I think people won't sit there and go fair play footballers. I think people will say, yeah, right, so they should.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
they
it's
should.
something
Yeah,
that they're going
that's
to be
the
thanked
reaction.
for. And it's sad because I do think that it's actually a really commendable thing that football players are doing because...
Yeah, because I'm not giving up my wage.
No.
You're giving up your wage.
No. And the reality is, whether they should or shouldn't is a matter for debate. But what isn't up for debate is whether they have to do it. They don't have to do it, and they've chosen to. So I think that they do deserve more credit, and not just for this, but in general. I think footballers quite often do quite a lot of good for the community, and I think often that gets forgotten. Because
let's just break it down, rightly or wrongly, these guys are in a profession, and especially the top, Premier League teams, they're in a profession that earn top end money. But that's because there's a demand for it. We sit in this, you go to your fair share of United games, pay 30, 40, 50 quid a time, and you pay for your Sky Sports subscription, as do I, and we put money in the pockets. So then we can't really turn around and say they're not worth the money when we're willing to pay it.
No.
It's a supply and demand market.
Yeah, 100%. And again, this is something that the argument that footballers earn too much and should earn less comes from both sides of the political spectrum. From where I'm sitting, you get it from hard right people who don't like working class people earning their keep, and you get it from the hard left too, where people would like to see that wealth redistributed more evenly. But from where I'm sitting, they earn the money. They come from, the majority of them come from quite humble backgrounds, and they do their bit for the community. And, whether you're on the hard right or left, from where I'm sitting, I'm paying money, as you say, to go to games, pay for Sky, BT, whatever, whether it's shirts, anything.
Yeah. The only way to stop it is to vote with your feet, isn't it?
I'd rather the money that I put forward to go to the talent rather than some suits, because
absolutely.
If we're saying that footballers should earn less, well, then who should earn more?
Where's the money go? They're going to donate 50% of the profits to charity. No, they're not.
Exactly.
It's going to go in Malcolm Glazer's pocket and whoever else.
And the suits who, don't do anything near as much in terms of bring success on and off the pitch for football clubs. If United, and we've seen, that United don't need to be winning trophies every year or competing at the highest level to make an awful lot of money, but if United's players all walked out tomorrow and United had to field, with another, any other 11 players, and we're talking mid-table team, it wouldn't take long for, the money to stop coming to the, to the Glazers, and then they'd start looking at Ed Woodward and saying, is he earning his money? So the players are everything, really. And again, I'd much rather that Pogba's on 300 grand a week than, Woodward's got a fifth house, or the Glazers have,
absolutely,
another club in another country. So
again, if people really are annoyed that footballers are overpaid, like I said before, the only way to stop that is to vote with your feet. Cancel your subscriptions, cancel your season tickets, don't watch the games, don't buy the shirts. That's the only way to fix it.